We all know how Leon Trotsky's stint in exile ended, and if you don't know, it was ended in 1940 when a chap called Ramon Mercader introduced an ice axe to the back of Trotsky's skull. His exile had begun after he was unceremoniously punted out of the Soviet Union in 1929 by none other than Joseph Stalin. But something not often asked about is, what did he do whilst in exile? Immediately after he was given his marching orders, Trotsky was sent to Turkey, where he lived for about 4 years. This was because Turkey's president, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, was concerned that the communist revolutionary was going to do, well, revolutionary communist things. As such, all of his letters were intercepted and he was kept under consistent supervision by the police. In 1933, President Edouard Daladier of France invited Trotsky to live there, which Trotsky gladly accepted. Daladier, though, after offering asylum to Trotsky, had a realization. This guy is a communist revolutionary, he's probably going to do revolutionary communist things when he gets here. As such, he decided that Trotsky would remain here, since he felt that putting Trotsky in Paris, surrounded by all of those other communists, would be a recipe for disaster. Now, this didn't stop Trotsky from writing and publishing numerous anti-government articles, and also French communists could leave Paris and go to Trotsky, which they did. As such, the French kept him under constant police supervision and monitored any and all of his communications. And in case you're wondering, this will be a running theme. Also, Trotsky's residence complicated France's foreign policy. In 1933, a certain Adolf Hitler took power in Germany, and Trotsky felt that this was the fault of Stalin for not ordering the German communists to form a united front against him. He also felt that Moscow wasn't preparing for conflict with Germany, which he saw as a dereliction of duty, which Stalin was, in case you're wondering, not a fan of. This was important to France because its prime minister, who changed every 5 minutes at this point, was concerned about German rearmament and so sought to build an alliance with the USSR. The USSR wanted Trotsky gone, but France opted to stand up for their principles, and just kidding, they kicked him out in 1935. Well, they tried to. It took a while because everywhere else refused to have him. The country that finally accepted him was Norway, and upon his arrival they promptly put him under police surveillance because they were concerned he'd incite revolution. To be fair to Trotsky though, he wasn't inciting it in Norway, but instead spent many months writing texts calling for French workers to strike and, if necessary, overthrow the government. Norway was under a lot of pressure by Stalin to get rid of Trotsky, and they made him a deal. Stop inciting revolution and criticising Stalin and you can stay. Trotsky said no because what else was he going to do with his time, and so was shipped to Mexico in 1937. The reason why the pressure was so fierce was that back in the USSR the Great Purge was beginning to really ramp up, and those who were seen as opponents to the state were branded Trotskyists. And Norway didn't want to be the one harbouring him in case things got, well, heated. When Trotsky got to Mexico, he was given a warm welcome and given a place to live in Mexico City. During his time in Mexico, Trotsky continued writing anti-Stalinist works and also started to liaise with prominent American communists. In fact, Trotsky was invited to the USA to testify to Congress about what the purpose of the American Communist Party was. However, when he declared he was going to use it as a platform to denounce Stalin and, to everyone's surprise, call for the overthrow of American capitalism, his invitation was revoked. He also formed the Fourth International, which opposed the Third International, the international group which was comprised of many communist parties, including that of the USSR. Trotsky was, at this point, openly calling for the deposition of Stalin and for all other communists to break ties with the USSR. And as the prospect of war seemed to get closer, Stalin took a lesson from history. Best not to let an exiled revolutionary return during a war and overthrow the government. And so he put an end to Trotsky's exile by having him assassinated. I hope you enjoyed this episode and thank you for watching, with a special thanks to my Patreon supporters: James Bisonette, Colin Castleman, Danny Maloney, Marvin Cassow, Rob Waterhouse, John B. Gaze, Mo, Aaron the White, Michael Reynolds, James Castaneda, Gustav Swan, Marcus Arsner, Jordan Longley, James Castaneda, Gustav Swan, Marcus Arsner, Jordan Longley, Gareth Turner, Mr. Show, Rashid Ali, Spinning Three Plates, Phil de Oink Oink, David Silverman, Izzy, Winston Kaywood, Maggie Paxkowski, Lexi Schwinn, Spencer Lightfoot, Kelly Moneymaker, Robert Wetzel, Sky Chappelle and Anthony Beckett.